Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Book Controversy, and today I'm going to be doing a book review. So the book that I'll be reviewing is A Love Story for Bewildered Girls by Emma Morgan. This book follows the relationships of three women. One is Grace, the other is Annie, and the last one is Violet. This book follows them through not only their romantic relationships but also the relationships between them and their family. However, the relationship between them and their romantic partners take up the bulk of the book, so I'm going to give a brief summary of the relationships. So, Grace. Grace is a psychotherapist who has been waiting for love to hit her for the eternity of her life. She has had multiple flings in the past, but nothing serious, nothing that has ever hit her like a truck, until it finally did. And her relationship goes through a honeymoon phase where she's all giddy and happy with her partner, and then it kind of goes into a stalemate and then deteriorates. Emma Morgan also shows how Grace's relationship with her partner affects her work, both when she is happy in the relationship and both when she is unhappy in the relationship. So one could say that she is unprofessional for letting her relationship affect her work, which I personally think so. But in the end, she does pick herself back up, so even with that first negative impression of her, you really learn to like her at the end because of how strong she is, how she finds her worth. And at the end of the relationship with her partner, she finds time to reconnect with her family. And it really is such an intriguing story about Grace. It really showcases her character, her willpower that she herself did not know she had. However, Grace is unfortunately my most disliked character, but I think that is mainly because of reasons I cannot say here in this non-spoiler section, so I will have to let that slide for now. The next character I'll be talking about is Annie. So Annie is a high-class woman. She is a lawyer. She absolutely loves everything expensive. She treats herself well. Overall, she is a generally likable character, except for certain aspects which I cannot say here again. And she has been looking for a man to finally meet not only her standards but her mother's standards. And she's looking for a refined man who has no faults, essentially. And she does meet him. I would say that to her, he is like her Prince Charming. It's as if she came out of a fairy tale, and he is too good to be true. And she treats herself well, as I said before, but in her relationship with her partner, I find that she just lets go, you know. She gives allowance to herself, which is a good thing, but she also places him of higher priority than her. She withdraws, she keeps her true nature hidden, and that's not really the base of a good relationship. And eventually her relationship with him starts to deteriorate, because when she is cleansed of how amazing she is, of how amazing he is, she finally sees that there are so many wrong things about her partner. And then at the end, there is a great reveal about her partner that I was not expecting at all, that completely shook me to my core, and I can't reveal it here. And now, on to the last character that I'll be talking about in this romantic relationship tension thingy is Violet. So Violet, I feel that her purpose in this book does not really have much to do with romantic relationships, but more of how she copes with her anxiety. And Violet, to me, is a key character in this book, because without her, the whole plot of this book, of Annie's relationship, of Grace's relationships, wouldn't really happen. So while she may get really little chapters at the start, while she may seem boring and an insufferable character because of how mopey she is, she really does bring the whole book together. And the way she deals with her anxiety, the way she overcomes it, or the way she finds coping methods for it, it really is inspirational. And I think that Violet really is my most favorite character in this book. Now, since I have described all the characters, I am going to jump straight into the review. So personally, I would give this book 3/5 stars. And while this book was an enjoyable read, I found many issues with it that I just couldn't let go of. And it really infuriated me because the plot, how everything was seamlessly woven together, I found it amazing. I absolutely loved it. I loved the storyline, I loved the plot, but I just couldn't come to love it as much as I hoped I would because one, the sentences were a bit too long for me, like certain sentences, and some of you may not find a problem with that, but for me, when I'm reading, I prefer my book to flow seamlessly. But when I encounter a sentence that is too long, sometimes by the end of the sentence I'm like, whoa, what's this whole sentence about? So I have to reread it, and rereading causes a block in my reading momentum, and it really irks me because I want my book to flow. I want it to be a good, easy read, but sometimes with this book it just didn't happen. The second issue I have with this book is that Annie, Grace, and Violet were all so difficult for me to come to love because I feel like their character traits were really well emphasized to the point that it was so easy for me to hate them. To me, Grace thought of herself as a higher position than straight girls just because she was a lesbian and just because she didn't submit to looking sexy for guys, which and then Violet was a really mopey character, and I know that it is because of her anxiety, and Violet throughout the book she was really mopey, and I know that's because of her anxiety, and I know that people actually face this in real life. However, I feel like it could have been done better because Violet's chapters were really cliche, and it got to the point where her moping was really repetitive and everything was just at a standstill when you read her chapters because there was no progress during the first few chapters, and I just thought, is this going anywhere? What's gonna happen? And to me at the start she didn't serve much purpose, and I was like, why is she here? So I didn't really like her at the start, although I did come to really love her. But that was an issue that really struck me, you know. I just couldn't come to love her, and I really didn't want to continue reading her chapters. And Annie. Oh, bless the Lord, it's Annie. So personally, I am very small, and a sentence in this book quoting Annie was that she hates small people. So I took personal offense to that, and I was really mad. And she talked about how she disliked people covering their asset, and to me I feel like she really looked down upon them, and that really irked me because I love to dress modestly as I can, and it just really irked me how clashing our thoughts were. I don't think that people who expose themselves are bad, but I just think that people that dress modestly shouldn't be put into such a bad light. Yeah, so I just couldn't get over all three of them at the start, which really made me want to fling this book into outer space or something. The last issue I have with this book is how Violet never calls her anxiety, but instead uses another name called the fear. And I feel like it was such a bad choice to name it the fear. It makes her seem so childlike and immature, and it's called anxiety. I don't understand why she can't just call it anxiety, you know? Like, even now it irks me because at the end she still doesn't acknowledge that she has anxiety. She just calls it the fear. The fear. However, there are a few things I really like about this book, like how all the characters' lives were really smartly woven together, and I really loved how Emma Morgan described gay relationships in a way that isn't fetishized or looked down upon. It was just a normal relationship that you would find in any romance novel, and that was really a breath of fresh air to me. I don't really see many lesbian couples on the shelves in books, and I think this was a really good example of how lesbian couples can be written, you know? Aside from the fact that they were all very hard to love. And I also love how Violet has anxiety, because I struggle with anxiety, and it just really I just really felt like I could relate to her despite my annoyance with her, and this book really touched my heart on that aspect. Okay, so book review aside, I am going to do a spoiler/ranting session about this book, because there is a lot I want to say about this book and its characters. So if you don't want to be spoiled, you can leave the video now, and let's get right on to it. So I'm going to be talking about 4 characters, 3 of our main ones and 1 character that really I hate her. Okay, so the first character is Grace. So I feel like she is a very problematic person, because she thinks that straight women are at the mercy of men, and that she is grateful because she is not straight. And I feel like this really puts lesbians in a bad light, because not all of us think this way, but it is in a book. It is how this particular lesbian character feels about straight women, and I feel like it really stereotypes females that like male and females that like females, because it really differentiates us even though we're not that different at all, and it doesn't vibe well with me. The other problem I have with Grace is that she totally lets her relationship with Sam ruin her professionalism. So when she's happy, she's doodling like hearts, their names together during her sessions with her client. And as I said before, Grace is a psychotherapist. She is there to help people, but the thing that she's supposed to do, she does not do. She instead lets her patients' words wash over her. She indulges herself in her relationship when she's supposed to be doing something professional, and she excuses herself by saying that it's the first time she's in love and that she should be excused because of this, but she is a 30-plus-year-old woman who should know better. Her relationship with Sam, when it goes bad, she just wallows in self-pity. And I know that it's okay to wallow, it's okay to cry, it's okay to feel sad when you're going through a breakup, but still, professionalism is needed. If you can't handle it, take a few days off. But Grace just sits through her patients' sessions, and some might say that's professionalism, because in her own way she is making sure that she is working, but she's not even listening to them. She's not providing them the help they need, she's not doing them money justice, and just doesn't sit well with me. And one thing that really irked me was how she couldn't trust Sam. And I know Sam couldn't be trusted at the end, but she just looks through Sam's stuff feverishly, and that's just not healthy at all. And some might say that she's just curious, but if you're curious, ask your partner. Don't look through their stuff, don't do it behind their backs. And she felt guilty when Sam found her doing it, and she knows it's wrong and she shouldn't do it. However, I really learned to sympathize with her when Sam did her totally wrong. And at the end, she does stop herself from going back to Sam, so that does make me really proud of her. The next character that I want to rant about is Violet. So as I said before, she calls her anxiety the fear, which I find is totally unnecessary because it is called anxiety. And I do not know if it's called the fear just to highlight her immaturity, but it really did seem immature to me, so couldn't really like her at first. There's not much to say about Violet actually, but at the end, you do feel really proud of her, of how she struggles to overcome her anxiety, how she's making an effort, how she finally has a direction for herself to work towards, and how she is really encouraging of Annie to go out, explore the world, work new areas, which is good. I love Violet. So the third character I want to talk about is Annie. So as I said before, Annie really annoyed me because she said that small people and people that dress modestly just weren't good. But one other thing that really annoyed me at first was her ignorance. Her ignorance to understand Violet better, her ignorance in trying to help Violet because she really wasn't helping her in that sense. But at the end, you kind of see why she acts the way she does and you kind of understand her. But I feel like that is not negotiable because she should know how to handle things a little more properly. Just because she was brought up in a household that did not permit such behavior or she was not exposed to such illnesses doesn't mean that she should be so uncaring. However, you really come to love Annie even though she was such an annoying character, because she really finds herself again after losing it to Lawrence. And Lawrence really rubbed me the wrong way at first, because I was like, this is too good to be true, and it really was too good to be true. But even I could not have expected that he was already married and he was using Annie like a pawn just to get money off her. And if he is so well-to-do, he should be able to provide for his wife's needs, not have another woman help her. And my last character, if you guys have read the book, you probably know which character I'm going to talk about, but I'm going to be talking about Sam. So Sam is the partner of Grace and also the partner of Violet. So Sam is a really wishy-washy character for me. She's really annoying sometimes, but at first I really liked her because I thought, oh okay, someone that really loves Grace, because she was written in such a way that she was so caring. She really helped Grace through a lot. But afterwards, when she met Violet, I guess everything just started to deteriorate, and oh, it was so annoying because in the middle of the book we are revealed that Sam and Violet are kind of a thing, but we just have to read as Grace continuously tries to get Sam to like engage in a proper conversation with her, but it's not working because Sam's mind is somewhere else, you know, about Violet probably. And it's just really annoying, and the way that she takes Grace's feelings lightly is just really bad, because after she was dumped by Violet, she went back to Grace, and she doesn't love Grace. To me, she doesn't love Grace. She just has her as a rebound for anything that comes up, but she really helps move the plot forward, so I guess she's valid. And that, my dear viewers, is the end of my horrible attempt at a book review. But I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'm sure I will get better at this somehow.